I'd just like to let you all know the format for the afternoon. This is not a Q&A session, and as such, if everybody could kindly refrain from asking questions. The purpose of the evening is in honour of our chief guest, Mr. Jaswant Singh. This is a public address. As such, we will have a few speakers from the panel. They will get up and say a few words, and your participation by virtue of attendance is much appreciated. I'm just going to invite some of the speakers on stage and say a few words, and I hope you enjoy the evening. Thank you very much. First person I would like to call upon stage is Keith Best. Keith is previous Chief Executive for the Immigration and Advisory Services. He's also an ex-Conservative MP. So please put your hands together and give a warm round of applause for Keith Best. Thank you very much.
Mr. Singh, distinguished members of the audience, Assalamu alaikum. I feel very privileged but also quite disadvantaged to have the honour of introducing Mr. Singh to you, because I am but a mere student, albeit a very enthusiastic student of the politics of the Indian subcontinent, whereas all you are experts in it and you live it in your daily lives. So I can only offer a very few words, but I hope that they will be interpreted as being very warm words of introduction. You will all know that Mr. Singh was a distinguished army officer in the Indian Army before becoming a politician for Darjeeling, a lovely constituency, one that I visited many years ago and had the pleasure of meeting Tenzing Norgay, the Himalayan Mountaineering Institute. We had to speak through an interpreter, but it was a very interesting experience, and for me, as been quite a young man, a fascinating one, and to go and see the ascent of India, of the Everest set out in the Himalayan Mountaineering Institute was a very interesting experience. Mr. Singh has the distinction of being one of the few Indian politicians who served as Defence Minister, Finance Minister, and also as External Affairs Minister. He was twice Finance Minister under the premiership of Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and in between that time he was a very distinguished Minister for External Affairs. It was he who showed his skills as a diplomat and a politician in the difficult negotiations with the United States after the Indian nuclear tests in 1998. His skill being acknowledged by Strobe Talbot and other Americans who were around at the time, and of course he also had to deal with some difficult relationships between India and Pakistan. He is no stranger to controversy, as you will all know. In July of 2006 he published his book A Call to Honour in Service of Emergent India. That was a book which insinuated that there had been a mole in the government of Narasimha Rao, who was passing on information to the United States, but most latterly and most poignantly in everybody's memory was the publication of his subsequent book in August of last year called Jinnah, India, Partition, Independence, which challenges the established understanding, and one I think that is very current in this country and people who are not immediate students of Indian politics, about what was the origin of partition. I find that whole period fascinating. The celerity with which partition had to be accomplished by the 15th of August, the role of Mountbatten, the dismay of Radcliffe, thinking that he was going to have several weeks, if not months, in which to create an agreed boundary. And of course, we have been living, and particularly that part of the world, has been living with the consequences of those decisions for a very long time. Some of you may know I have a lot of Bengali friends from my time in the Immigration Advisory Service in helping them try to bring chefs and other people into the country. I know many people who were members of the Mukti Bahini at the time, who fought in the War of Independence. What a tragedy that was, both for emergent Bangladesh but also for Pakistan as well. The whole question of partition and the movement of people is one that has left a deep stain and a deep legacy on that part of the world, and still is a flashpoint of potential conflict between India and Pakistan. So it is somebody with enormous courage who can challenge some of the established beliefs about who really was the most interested in promoting partition. And I, for one, have always thought that it was originally Jinnah's view that what he wanted was security and electoral colleges for the Muslim population within a greater India, and not for a completely separated state. And it was only latterly, when it became obvious that that was the only solution that was going to find favour, that that came about. But I'm not going to trespass any further into delicate and difficult waters, because you will have already established I am no expert in these matters, and I know that most of you are, but particularly our speaker this evening is one of the best experts that we could be privileged to hear, and I, for one, am certainly greatly looking forward to what he has to say.